Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching TVP World Talks, where every word matters. According to latest reports, Poland's economy appears to be in rude health, with a 2.9 GDP increase in 2024, including 3.5% GDP growth recorded in the fourth quarter alone. Forecasts for 2025 appear equally optimistic, but set against the rest of the region, Poland appears to be a notable exception, as other countries posted mostly disappointing results. What are the causes of Poland's economic prowess? Can the economic growth be sustained? And what challenges lie ahead? Let's take a look at our latest report to find out more.
2024 started off with a burst of optimism here in the CEE. Economists were looking forward to growth returning to pre-pandemic levels and to a clear path to target inflation. Unfortunately, for many countries, things have not panned out as planned.
2024 was a mixed bag for the Central and Eastern Europe.
If we compare consensus forecasts from late 2023 in the V4 to the final results, only Poland came out just slightly above expectations at 2.9%. We're still waiting for data from Slovakia, but current models see it coming in 0.3 percentage points short. The Czech Republic came in 0.4 percentage points below, while Hungary had turned out to be the biggest disappointment, with just 0.5% growth in 2024, a whopping 2.3 percentage points below expectations. Now, there are a number of factors behind these results.
What did not materialize was anticipated a rebound in investment growth. And that's something that needs to be taken into account in 2025.
Most of Europe saw a decline in investment in 2024, a trend recorded across the EU. In terms of the V4, it's important to note that Poland has a much different economy than its V4 neighbors.
Plus, the extent to which this Visegrad 4 countries disappointed was also influenced by the openness of these economies.
An open economy relies heavily on exports to support its GDP. This means that countries like Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and Hungary were far more exposed to the slowdown in Germany and could not rely on internal demand to pick up the slack, as was the case in Poland. So what's on the horizon for 2025?
So again, the Visegrad for 2025 appears to be again a very mixed bag.
Current consensus forecasts see Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and Hungary all growing near the 2.5% mark. Poland will likely remain the frontrunner with 3.5% growth this year.
And joining us now to discuss this story is Bartłomiej Gabryś, director at the Katowice School of Economics. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Hello, good morning.
So, can you explain the reasons why Poland has succeeded where others in the region have seemingly failed when it comes to meeting the earlier expectations?
I believe it's the question that is behind the way how it's constructed. One of the macroeconomic indicator that was just mentioned in the statement before. So the GDP, the dynamic of GDP is based on few engines, and one of the engine is of course investment, and that's something that we still have a problem right now in Poland. But the thing that we don't have a problem is the individual consumption, and this individual consumption was the source. I don't want to call that a success, but definitely that this macroeconomic indicator was highly influenced by this consumption, individual consumption. So I believe that's something that makes us different, and especially when you consider the number of inhabitants and you compare Slovakia, Hungary, and Czech Republic, it's going to occur very easily that the number of inhabitants in Poland is so much higher than the countries that I have just mentioned. And I believe that's one of the reasons. But also, I believe that there was a kind of political shift, and there are some expectations that the development of the market is going to be continue, and those expectations, especially in the context of getting some money from EU, from the recovery funds, are somehow connected with the numbers that we receive for 2024. And also for the expectation for 2025, which here on the picture we have seen as a 3.5 I have seen also some reports that telling that it is quite possible that we're going to reach even the level of 4%.
So I'm glad that you've mentioned the recovery plan, because we need to remember we are still in a post-pandemic economy, right? The pandemic has actually messed up some of the economies in the region quite seriously. And it is a question of being resilient enough to actually get out of this slump and back to the path of growth. Now, what would you say will be the main challenges for the forecasts that you've just mentioned? So an economic growth in Poland between 3.5 and 4% GDP. Are there any issues which need to be addressed in order to prevent any problems with achieving this goal?
Absolutely. And it is quite simple, because I would call that time. The money that we are going to receive, or we are receiving at the moment from the European Union, are strictly limited by the time when they are supposed to be used, or where we should implement them into the economy. And that's one of the biggest issues that I see, because when there are so many activities which need to be done in such a short period of time, uh, it is quite possible that not everything goes fine, not everything goes smooth. And I believe that's also the question about the number of companies that would like to participate in those money, how they are participated amongst the members of the market. But the point is that uh, at the current moment, the number of activities that they can be involved is unfortunately limited. And I believe that the time is probably the biggest issue right now when it comes to the recovery funds coming from the European Union. And that's my answer to the question, actually.
And is Poland exposed in any way to the recent announcement that Donald Trump has made, essentially planning to slap tariffs on goods from the European Union? To what extent could this affect Poland and the region?
Absolutely. We are a member of the European Union, one of the strongest economy at the moment when you take a look at the numbers. And what is also important, in the same way, we are participating in this international market. So everything that deals with the growth, with the development of the market of Germany, of Czech Republic, of other members of European Union, especially those countries that we are in a very strong relation with them when it comes to the export and what we deliver to the final products which are produced by those companies which are located in Germany, for example, then every single move on this global market connected with some extra tariffs or something that is going to make the products to be more expensive, of course, is going to influence Polish market as well. And I want to emphasize that those countries that we are uh, mostly related to when it comes to the economic affairs, it's like Germany. They are really highly dependable. The goods, the products that they offer to the global clients are right now under really high stress because of the tariffs coming from possible tariffs coming from the United States and the new president. There is a lot of question marks because we don't know how it's going to work, how high they're going to be. So uh, the economy in general also don't like this moment of not knowing what's going to happen, and that's also the situation that we are in the middle of right now.
So it's the uncertainty factor. Do you think there
Absolutely.
are any branches of the economy which could actually benefit from these changes? For example, would you say that mining companies or energy companies in Poland could actually position themselves in this new economic reality so that they may be racking in profits instead of actually posting losses or being exposed to direct risks, like, for example, companies in Germany which actually export many goods into the United States, like luxury goods, automobiles, and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. There is always this kind of opportunity to the business. You have mentioned the mining industry. I have friends, I have some colleagues who are running the company that is dealing with the mining industry. And the point is that they do the business, but not with the Poland as a market, but they do the business with United States as a market. So you need to do, or actually you are forced to do, you are supposed to be ready right now, already with the connection with partners in the United States to make your business works in the context of this what is going on right now, because otherwise it's going to take a time to to get to the American market and to propose this what you are producing. I mean, for example, the mining industry, and that's an issue. I believe that it's a kind of opportunity, but only opportunity for those who are already prepared for that opportunity to make it happen, to make it works, and to make those opportunity working as a market idea. I don't feel that in the current situation in European Union, when we think about the EU regulation concerning the emission of CO2 and other stuff, it's going to be rather difficult to make it work for the Polish companies because of this regulation mostly. But when you are dealing as a company with outside market, for example, with United States, then I believe it's a kind of opportunity. It's just depend on the level of how well you're prepared for that.
And what do you think about the situation on the consumer market? It has been mentioned earlier on that it was the national domestic demand that was one of the growth drivers that has shielded Poland to some extent from the risks which have affected smaller economies, such as Slovakia, for example. What factors, what prerequisites need to be satisfied in order for the consumer market to remain where it is now, enthusiastic and willing to spend?
Well, it's an interesting question, but it is the question that is based in the history of this what we have actually right now. We must remember that the inflation rate right now estimated to be something about 5 is still a kind of invisible force that take the money from our pockets. And what is important, and estimation for the last year and for the 2025 are telling us that the growth of the salaries for workers is going to be a slightly higher than the rate of inflation, which basically means the money in our pocket, there's going to be a little bit more of them. And that's the way how we can influence the economy, because we're going to have more money to spend. I also believe that the year 2024 was a kind of year that we were dealing with how to rebuild this, what we have lost in the time of COVID time. That was also the reason why the growth of economy, when we take a look at the 2023, was so low. And the 2024 is like, we have already managed to rebuild the money that we lost. And right now, we feel a little bit more comfortable with spending more, a little bit more sometimes a little bit more, better or more than it was before, than it was in 2023, when we were really afraid about the situation on the labor market. And now it is, I think, a kind of process that we need to consider. So it's not just only the situation that is at the moment, but it's the consequences of the previous decisions and the previous processes that we were taking a part in.
Bartłomiej Gabryś was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thank you very much.
And I'm Jonasz Rewiński. You're watching TVP World. Please do stay with us for more latest news and updates.